is the one we want to use, we can type 1. But one nice option we have is, instead of keeping track, we can select the Get Next Unused Address. What this does is, I'm sorry, I already clicked on 1. What this does is bring us the next available operand to use. If we've used 560 memory bits, we don't want to remember that 561 is our next available. So we'll use MB1. What we want to do again is give it a good description. So we're going to call it light output 1. Remember, we had a button, our first button, we called it button 1. Now our light output, we called it light output 1. It's really good to give good descriptions to all of the operands we use and all the variables we use when we're programming. If we just call it light output and we have 15 light outputs, we won't necessarily remember which one is linked to this light. Okay, so we have that. We're going to hit OK. Again, what did we just do? We used the binary image. We linked a image to each state of the memory bit. Again, off or 0 is red, high or 1 is green. And we linked it to memory bit 1, light output 1. Okay, so we've configured 2 things on our HMI now. We've done half of the programming we need to do to create a simple direct push-button light switch. What we have left to do is link this to the ladder. So let's go ahead and we'll click on Main Routine over here. And we're now in our ladder section. So in our ladder section, all of our function blocks and all of our functions we want to use are available from this horizontal drop-down. And we also have the popular ones in the vertical one here. What we're going to do again is create a simple push-button switch. So when we're pushing the switch, we want the light to be on, and when we're not pushing it, we want the light to be off. What we need to use is our Boolean functions here, and we're going to use a contact. We're going to use the direct contact. So we're going to take this, and we're going to place it right here in the first net. When we do this, we want to make sure that we're touching our element to the left side of this vertical rail. We can consider this to be the power rail. So if we remember, our input for our button was memory bit 0. We can go ahead and type in here memory bit 0, and we have button 1. This is because we gave it that description when we created the button. If we want, again, we can browse memory bit 0 and 1. We can see we've used these already. Or one other nice feature, and oops, I don't actually get to that, is we can type in the search field on the bottom. So because we know it was a button, we can type in button, and we can bring up all the buttons we have available we've created on the HMI. In this case, we've only created 1, so it's not very hard to find it. But this is a very nice option. Some users who are also used to programming with tags will ask, how can I program with tags and not link it to an operand? We can't do that directly, but we can link it to an operand, and we can pull up the tag every time we want to use it. Okay, so memory bit 1 is the bit we're going to use here. Now, this is one half of our statement. We want to say when MB0 is high, we want to output to MB1. We want to turn that bit high. So we're going to use, in this case, a direct coil. So the contact is our input statement. The coil is our output. We can go ahead and type again memory bit 1. Or because we gave it a good name, light output, we can just type in light. And we can find light output 1 here, memory bit 1. We'll hit OK. Okay. So now we've built about the simplest net we can build. Can you look at the questions and answers? Okay. So we have our input again, which is the contact, and our output is this coil. One other thing we should do whenever we're programming is give a comment to the net. What it will do is help us in the future come back and see exactly what we did, and it'll also help other users who need to go through our program and figure out what we did so they can use the program. I'm sorry. If we look here, we have an insert comment option. If we click on it, and we click on the net, we'll insert a comment space above, and we can call this light output 1 in reference to the light output we're using, and we'll say when MB0 is high, MB1 will be high. And that's the most basic description we can give of the simplest net we can create. Now, we have a program. We have an HMI and a ladder section. Let's go ahead and download this controller and see it working. From the tabs here, we see project. We used project when we wanted to create a new project. We can do a couple other things that we'll find familiar, save and open and print. So why don't we go ahead and save this real quick as well. And we'll just call it buttons and lights. Okay. Now from the connection tab, we click here, we'll see the option, the menu for communication and OS. This is where we're going to go to first set up our communication and to test our communication to our controller. I'm using the built-in serial port on my computer. It's COM1. We can select from the drop-down here, COM1 through 16. If you're using a USB to serial adapter, you might have COM8, for example, the USB adapter installed in COM8. So you would select COM8 here. For the 130, 350, and 570, we call these our enhanced series, and they support a higher baud rate. So for the 570, I can leave it at 115200. And this just means the speed that we're going to download to the controller. If we want to do a test for communication, we can hit the Get OPLC information button here. What we want to see returned is the model number, the hardware revision, and the OS. We see that my 570 is attached, and I'm running operating system 3.1.19. Okay. Once we've done a test like this, we should be able to feel assured that we can download to the controller. So I'm going to exit from here, and we're going to do a simple download. Again, I'm going to go to connection. One of the other options here is the download option. We're just going to select stop, download, and reset. And I'm going to do this just because I want to restart the controller. If I select the download option, it'll try to download and keep the controller running. This is a good option if you have a process that's running and you've made a small change, but you don't want to restart the controller. But in our case, I want to restart it, so I've selected that. What we see here now is a warning that says a project in the controller has been previously downloaded from another project, digital signatures and that match. This is letting us know we're downloading a new project to the controller. We are okay with that. Okay, and now we have a message saying our images are different than in the PLC. That's okay. We're getting these because this is not the program that's in the controller. We haven't made changes to it. It's a new program. Also, we can see on the bottom left here, is progress of the download. We will be able to tell what stage we're in the download, but we can also see the progress of that portion of the download. Okay, so because we asked it to reset, we're going to hit OK to send it a run command. It's going to restart. And I know you can't see the controller on my desk, but one nice option we can do is to go online or go into the online test mode with the controller. Now this means that we can do two things. We can view the ladder as it's running right now, and we can also bring up, with remote access, a view of the screen of the PLC. I'm going to go ahead and click either on the glasses here, or again go to connection and online test. We'll select this. We notice we get a bar here on the right side. If I select the second to last icon, it's remote access. What this is going to do is bring up a live view of the controller. I'll just make it a little bigger so we can all see it. And here we go. So the first thing is let's take a look at the HMI. So this is what the screen of my controller looks like now. We said that we wanted to create a button that when pressed outputs to the light. So it's going to turn the light on when we press the button. And when we let go, it should turn off. So I'll press the button. We see the light goes green. And we let go, and it goes back to red. Okay. One other nice thing we can do is look at the ladder. So we have right behind here. Notice that when we went online, this rail turned green. It'll turn probably red if you haven't changed the color. So when I press this, we want to see the power flow. So I press MB1. MB1 contact goes high. Therefore, the output, the coil, can also go high. So MB1 is high here. We see again on the HMI, the button is pressed and the light is output. Does this make sense, or does anyone have any question about that? Okay, so what we've done here is we've built about the simplest net we can build. We've linked a button and a binary image on the HMI to the ladder section. So we've shown how to link the ladder and the HMI. We've shown how to use a couple of the HMI variables, the button and the binary image. These are they're both very useful HMI functions. We've shown how to create a simple net on the ladder. We've used a direct contact and a direct output coil. And we've gone online and did an online test so we can view what's going on with the logic, and we can also view the controller view. Okay. So that's the first simple net we wanted to build. We're going to build another button and light. Okay, I'm sorry, I've got a note saying I'm coughing too much. Okay, I'm going to leave the online test here. Let's go back to the HMI. We're going to build another button and another light, and this time we want to build in some inverted logic. So the light is going to be on when we're not pressing the button. And when we press the button, we want the light to go off. So we're going to do our series of building buttons and lights again. I'm going to grab a button here, and I'll draw it out on the right side. And we'll say, we'll call this one the off button. And we're going to give it a touch property again. We'll hit our Get Next Unused, MB2. We'll call this Off Button 2, because it's our second button. We'll hit OK. And we'll create another binary image, again under Images. And we'll give it the same color scheme. Again, I'm going to hit Browse. This, by the way, images are available from the Unitronics. I'm sorry. The Unitronics VisiLogic _C, which is installed in Program Files Unitronics. And then we go to Data, Images C, and LEDs for these images. We're going to select the red for the off state, and the green for the on state. And again, we're going to link it to something. And we're going to call this light output 2. And I'll hit OK. So again, we've created a binary image with an off color of red and an on color of green, just like we did before. So we've created two identical variables here, a button and a binary image. How are we going to create inverted logic? Well, that's just how we're going to do it. We're going to put the logic into the ladder section. So let's go ahead and go to the ladder here. Again, we can use our navigator. We click on Main Routine. I'm going to make a new comment here, and I'm just going to call this light output 2. We'll go ahead and give it a better description once we've created our logic, but specifically what we're going to do here is invert the contact. So if we go to Boolean and contacts, we can select